Pierre Poilievre is going to be back in the House of Commons, and the hypocrisy on the left is at an all-time high. Welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie A.B. If you like debriefing and discussing pop culture, internet culture, and politics from an independent perspective, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps get my videos out there, and thanks guys so much for the support. Let's get into today's video. So, Pierre Poilievre has won. Thank goodness. I tuned into a couple live streams last night to watch the coverage because, I don't know, it's so funny to me. Do you guys not think it's hilarious how long it took CBC to call that, but how quickly they called the election on election night? It was like right away. It was right away. And my daughter still jokes about it. Every time she sees someone crashing out, she says, "Mom, look, it's you and MarkCarney won." I love Gen Alpha. Because I truly did not think that we would vote in the Liberals. Okay. Anyways. So here's Pierre.
People of Battle River Crowfoot, if I stand before you here today, it is by the grace of God and the good generosity of so many people, the first of which I must start with is my incredible wife, Anna. Anna, yes, give her a round of applause. Where did she go? Anna, you have been an incredible rock for our family. You've been the glue that has bound us all together. And
yeah, okay. Can you imagine being his wife, having to go through 2 campaigns, 1 prime minister, he loses his seat, he's got to run in Battle River Crowfoot. He hasn't seen his daughter. That's what he says in the next line. I hate Parliament. Okay, I hate Parliament for going away for so long, but I really hope he takes the next week to literally, please. I think the region of Battle River Crowfoot and everybody else on the conservative side would beg you to take 2 weeks off and spend it with your children and your wife. They deserve it. You deserve it. Please. Please. Okay? Spend time. I can't believe he hasn't seen his daughter. That makes me want to literally cry. Okay. He's just working so hard and he's just been screwed over so much. Okay? He is the underdog to me. Okay? I'm trying to... Here's the thing. Pierre didn't contact me when it was after the election. Like, he contacted other people. And that's fine. Because I just want you guys to know that I'm sincerely, from an independent perspective, I do like Pierre Poilievre. I think that he is going to win. Have I been disappointed in some of the things that he's done? Yeah, I'm not going to agree with every single thing that every single person does. But overall, I genuinely do think he's going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. To me, because his childhood, like, reminds me of mine, and he's so Canadian. Like, he has a wife that's come over here, worked hard, built her life up. He has a kid with disabilities, and so do I. He was adopted, so was I. I can relate to Pierre a lot, okay? And I also, before I was clout-shotted, had a life and a job, and I was living the Canadian dream until it was effectively dismantled. And you know what? I'm trying to live a different version of the Canadian dream, and we're still being stomped on. Okay, I'm not a believer in the government coming and saving me. I'm a believer in getting their boot off my head and stopping them from curb stomping me. Just a thought. I just want to remind Pierre, please remember why we liked you in the first place. I know you're trying to cater to a lot of people who are just like, I just don't like him. That's because you haven't really shown yourself in a... we need to see you on CBC. We need to see you schooling them on CBC. We need you to be dropping the facts, because that is what matters. It does not... I understand that likability does matter overall, but I think him advocating for the best of Canadians and doing it in a way that shows how stupid they all are is exactly what we need. Okay, please don't forget that we actually like your little dad jokes. We like how much of a nerd you are. I liked Pierre when he had glasses. So please, Pierre, go back to being yourself more. I understand you had to go up against, like Pierre had to go up against the Canada 51 rhetoric, and I just want him to be more logical, okay? I know what he would have said before, and what he would have said before was, well, why do we have so much tariffs on America? You know, I don't agree with Trump on everything entirely at all, but in 4 years or 3 years, Trump will no longer be there. These are our neighbors, our allies. Why did Trudeau have so much tariffs on American goods coming into Canada? It's actually contributed to the overall economy of Canada and why things are so damn unaffordable, okay? So how about we go back to pointing that out? That is my criticism. I'm very excited to see Pierre in the House of Commons. Now let's talk about the meltdown that the left is having. First of all, I just want to point this out. No way in actual HE double hockey sticks would they have forced this man all the way in Alberta to step down. He obviously stepped down himself because, like he just said, Pierre just said in this, I know I didn't show you guys, but he said, I did not get to see my daughter for so long. Do you think that if the Conservatives were to force someone out of their seat, it would have been someone in Alberta? I know that it's a safe riding. Andrew Lawton could have stepped down and he could have been in St. Thomas and he would have easily won that riding. So do not tell me that this is, oh, the Conservatives made this man step down. This isn't Chandra Arya, okay? This man clearly talked this over with his wife, made this decision for the betterment of Canada, okay? That's where I watched the interview that Northern Perspective did. That is what he did this for. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know. The fact that they're mad about that is one thing. Because they say, the left is saying, they made him step down because it's the easiest riding, blah, blah, blah. Don't give me that. Please, don't give me that, okay? Because, I'm sorry, didn't Chandra Arya get kicked out, booted from Nepean, booted from the Liberals entirely, and then they threw him under the bus with something that was racist, by the way? That out of all the things that they could have said, they literally said foreign interference, as if MarkCarney wasn't benefiting from Chinese foreign interference himself. There were other safe seats that they could have went to, but they kicked out Chandra Arya for a reason, okay? I cannot believe that. And not only that, instead of having an election where we decided whether it was going to be Trudeau or Pierre, because I think we deserved that election, in my opinion, still, because you cannot be followed around with Trudeau signs for literally years and then all of a sudden be like, you know what, it's like last minute towards our next election, I'm gonna actually step down and we're gonna get someone else in here. I don't think that was fair, okay? But whatever, rules are rules. They were allowed to do it, and not a peep from the left. This is the best thing ever. We're gonna have a new, person in there, blah blah blah, despite them throwing Chrystia Freeland under the bus as well, by the way. Although, I don't know. I'm sure you guys are like me and think that this was all some sort of strategic plan. I don't know. So we're going to listen to this TikToker next, okay? This is the type of stuff that I am seeing. There were a bunch of live streams last night from lefties freaking out over Pierre Poilievre getting in, but let's listen. Because they honestly thought Bonnie Critchley was... And I will say, she did get more votes than I thought she would.
Who even cares about democracy anymore? Not only did Poilievre lose his seat, but then another Conservative leaves his seat so that Poilievre can win in a Conservative-dominated area, and Elections Canada took off the names of the people protesting him so that...
Oh, what?
That they could have write-in ballots. Democracy is dead.
Well, firstly, nice slip of the tongue there to know that you guys are protesting Pierre Poilievre and not unfair democratic, whatever the longest ballot was trying to achieve there. Okay, so number one, yeah, we know, but I'm sorry, is it a legal form of protest to make it difficult for people with disabilities to be able to pick who they want to pick? What kind of form of protest is that from the left? I genuinely just want to know, because if it's not to confuse people and throw people off, then what is it doing? What's the purpose of it? Would love to know. Secondly, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. MarkCarney kicks out, oh my gosh, I've said his name, Chandra Arya, says it's foreign interference. Well, by the way, benefiting from Chinese foreign interference himself. Throws him out, calls it foreign interference. I'm sorry. And what about the whole Justin Trudeau thing? Justin Trudeau was followed by an angry mob for 3 whole years before he finally said, you know what? I don't think people like me. Maybe I should let someone else run. Oh, and then this whole scenario is A-okay when it's the Prime Minister of Canada. But when Pierre Poilievre, when Damien, I'm sorry, I forget your last name right now, steps down, okay? Because you cannot tell me Aylmer, Ontario is one of the safest Conservative ridings. If Pierre Poilievre was in the Conservatives were forcing people to step down, it would have probably have been Andrew Lawton, okay? Because A, he'd still be in Ontario, and there's plenty of other like very safe Conservative ridings. So don't tell me that it was the Conservatives forcing him to step down, because I genuinely do not think that. I watched the interview. I think he made the decision himself for the betterment of the country. And what in his mind, that is what he was doing. Okay. And that's not okay for him to step down and an election to happen that everybody in that area can vote on. Okay. But it was okay when MarkCarney was replaced as our prime minister with only you being able to be a Liberal to vote him in. Got it. It pains me. Because when I was saying this, what do you think they were saying in my comments? Because here's the thing. MarkCarney called an election right away, so it was okay. I still think we should have been able to decide if Justin Trudeau was our prime minister or not and watch him be humiliated against Pierre Poilievre. But that's neither here nor there. I was okay with what happened because MarkCarney called an election. Do I think that they played that election fairly? No, I do not. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that what MarkCarney did was wrong, because it would have been wrong if he did not have an election. That's what would have been wrong. And the lefties, do you see what I mean? To live in this cognitive dissonance is to, you either have memory loss. It cannot be explained. It cannot be explained, because I was on the left. And as soon as they started asking me to live in cognitive dissonance, I said, no, thank you. No, thank you. I am not going to look away from bodily autonomy and people's right to their livelihoods. Okay? No freaking way am I going to do that. So I did. I draw the line. I have morals and ethics. But do the left anymore? I don't know. By the way, I meant to say drew. I drew the line somewhere. So I don't think draw is a word. My bad. But you guys tell me what you think, because there's a lot of discourse. There's a lot of discourse in the right-leaning space of content creators and TikTok and all these things that think that maybe Pierre Poilievre... Actually, I would say most of TikTok genuinely supports Pierre. I haven't seen too many content creators on TikTok be against Pierre at all. Actually, I would say I'm part of this place and group of people who are very center-leaning, who very much are not pro-Pierre, but also not like anti-Pierre and you know what I mean? It's like they're just more anti-government in general rather than anti-Pierre. But anyways, yeah, I just want to know what you guys think, and let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next show. And I hope you're having an incredible summer, because it's almost done. Isn't that insane? That's insane to me. Okay, have a good one. Bye.